Chapter 1. A Terrifying Vision. The story opens on a rainy night, with Agatha Smith huddled in her small apartment. Lightning flashes across the darkened sky, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Agatha's heart pounds with a mixture of anticipation and fear as she feels the all-too-familiar sensation of a vision approaching. As if a veil is lifted, Agatha sees it. The image of her sister, Hannah, lying lifeless on the floor, a pool of blood spreading around her motionless body. Agatha clutches her chest, struggling to catch her breath. Her visions always come with a surge of panic, as if she is experiencing the impending tragedy firsthand. Drenched in cold sweat, Agatha reaches for her phone and dials Hannah's number. Her hands tremble as she waits for a response. Finally, relief washes over her when Hannah's voice crackles through the receiver. "Hey, Aggie, what's up?" Hannah's casual tone doesn't match the gravity of Agatha's premonition. Agatha takes a deep breath, attempting to steady her voice. "Hannah, I just had a vision. It was horrible. I saw you dead." There's a pause on the other end of the line, and Agatha's heart sinks. She knows Hannah finds her visions unsettling, even though she tries to downplay them. "Aggie, it's just a vision. Remember how many times your visions didn't come true?" Agatha knows her sister is trying to reassure her, but deep down, she senses the truth in her visions. "Hannah, please be careful. Don't brush this off. Promise me you'll take extra precautions." Hannah sighs. "I promise, Aggie, but you need to take care of yourself too. These visions are consuming you." Agatha forces a weak smile. "I will, Hannah. Just promise me you'll stay safe." Chapter 2. Tragedy Strikes. After a few hours had passed since Agatha's conversation with Hannah, a heavy silence settled upon the Smith household. Unbeknownst to Agatha, her worst fears were about to become a haunting reality. As evening descended, a sense of unease gripped Agatha's heart. She felt an unexplainable dread seep into her bones, as if the air itself carried a foreboding weight. Unable to shake off the unsettling sensation, she picked up her phone and dialed Hannah's number once again. But this time, there was no answer. Panic started to claw its way up Agatha's throat. Fear pulsated through her veins as she rushed to Hannah's apartment, her mind racing with worry. The door swung open with a creak, revealing a scene that shattered Agatha's world. Her sister lay lifeless on the floor, a pool of blood spreading around her motionless body, mirroring the horrifying visions that had plagued Agatha's mind. Agatha's screams pierced the silence as she knelt beside Hannah, her hands trembling with grief and disbelief. Tears streamed down her face as she clutched Hannah's lifeless hand, desperately hoping for a miracle. But it was too late. The police were called to the scene, their presence casting a somber shadow over the apartment. Detectives started combing through the evidence, piecing together the puzzle of Hannah's tragic demise. Agatha, consumed by grief, could only watch as they meticulously collected clues, hoping to find the answers that eluded her visions. Agatha found solace in the support of her friends, Evelyn and William, who stood by her side through the darkest moments of her grief. They offered comfort, lending their ears to her sorrow and their shoulders for her tears. In their presence, Agatha discovered a glimmer of hope amidst the despair. One evening, as Agatha and her friends gathered to discuss the case, frustration etched into their faces. Evelyn sighed, her voice heavy with disappointment. "We've hit a dead end at every turn. It's as if the answers are just out of reach." William nodded in agreement, his brows furrowed in concentration. "We need a breakthrough, something that connects the dots. Agatha, have you had any new visions or any flashes of insight?" Agatha's eyes welled up with tears as she shook her head. "No. Nothing since that last vision of Hannah lying lifeless. It's as if my gift has abandoned me when I need it the most." Evelyn reached out, gently placing a hand on Agatha's. "Agatha, don't lose hope. We're in this together, and we won't stop until we find the answers. We owe it to Hannah." Chapter 3. A twist of fate. A years had slipped through Agatha's fingers like sand, each passing day carrying with it a heavy burden of grief and unanswered questions. Seeking solace and a fresh start, she made the decision to relocate to her Uncle Nathan Smith's home, a haven of tranquility amidst the chaos that had engulfed her life. It was within the confines of her new residence that Agatha's path intersected with that of Matthew Wilson, a charismatic and wealthy businessman. Like a gentle breeze sweeping away the ashes of her past, Matthew courted Agatha with sincerity and affection. Despite the lingering pain of loss, Agatha found herself drawn to his genuine presence and slowly allowed her heart to open to the possibility of love once more. Days turned into months, and Agatha and Matthew's bond grew stronger, solidifying into a deep and unbreakable connection. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Agatha found herself sitting with Matthew in the serene garden of her uncle's estate. The scent of blooming flowers filled the air, intertwining with the delicate symphony of their conversation. Matthew, his voice gentle yet filled with genuine emotion, spoke softly to Agatha. "Agatha, from the moment I first laid eyes on you, I knew that you were the missing piece in my life. Your grace, your strength, and the way you carry yourself with such dignity, it has captured my heart." Agatha, her eyes reflecting a mixture of hesitance and longing, replied, "Matthew, you have brought light into my world during the darkest of times. Your presence has given me hope and a reason to believe in love again." Meanwhile, William, Agatha's steadfast childhood friend, struggled to come to terms with her union with Matthew. The flicker of hope that had burned within his heart dimmed as he watched the woman he loved build a life with another. The pain of one-sided love clung to him like a shadow, casting a wall over their once close friendship. Yet despite William's disappointment, he remained by Agatha's side, his loyalty and support resolute. While his heart longed for something more, he understood the importance of her happiness above all else. Deep down, he held a secret longing, a flicker of hope that someday fate would intervene and alter the course of their lives. Eventually, Agatha and Matthew exchanged vows, binding themselves together in a sacred union of marriage. The Smith mansion, once cloaked in shadows, now bore witness to their shared dreams and aspirations. Chapter 4. Visions Revisited. As Agatha settled into the depths of the mansion, the calm surface of her newfound happiness was shattered by the return of her haunting visions. Her mind was once again plagued by unsettling images that seemed to pierce the veil of reality. Determined to unravel the truth behind her visions, Agatha knew she had to act upon the latest premonition that had consumed her thoughts. In her vision, she saw a murder of an unknown woman followed by 4 images flickering constantly. A T-shirt with a half-lion print belonging to a famous brand named Zip Clip, a signboard with Holiday Inn written on it, a door of room 1505, and a red-colored pen drive hidden below the bed. The pieces of the puzzle were elusive, but Agatha remained resolute in her pursuit of the truth. Accompanied by William and Evelyn, her steadfast companions, Agatha embarked on a quest to uncover the significance of these clues. Their first destination was the Zip Clip office, where they hoped to find the T-shirt that matched Agatha's vision. As they entered the office, Agatha's heart fluttered with anticipation, her nerves intertwined with a sense of urgency. They meticulously searched through the racks of clothing, examining each garment in hopes of finding the elusive design. However, disappointment washed over them as they realized that no such T-shirt existed in the company's entire catalog history. Agatha's frustration threatened to overwhelm her, but William's steady presence offered a comforting anchor. "Agatha, we won't let this setback deter us," he reassured her. "There must be another way to uncover the truth. We won't give up." Evelyn, ever the sharp observer, interjected, "Agatha, have you considered that the T-shirt might be a custom design? Perhaps it's a limited edition or a one-of-a-kind piece." Agatha's eyes widened as the realization dawned on her. "You're right, Evelyn. It's possible that the T-shirt was specially made or obtained through unconventional means. We need to dig deeper, explore alternative avenues." Their determination reignited. The trio turned their attention to the Holiday Inn in L.A. They arrived at room number 1505, their footsteps echoing through the corridor as anticipation filled the air. With a mixture of hope and trepidation, they stepped inside, scouring every inch of the room for any sign of a camera or the red pen drive. Yet their search yielded no immediate results. Back at home, Agatha's heart sank, and she felt a surge of unease. It was at that moment that her husband, Matthew, entered the room. Sensing her distress, he enveloped her in a tender embrace, providing a calming presence. Agatha clung to Matthew, her voice filled with a mix of nervousness and vulnerability. "Matthew, I'm overwhelmed by these visions. I fear that we're running out of time, that we'll never uncover the truth. What if we fail?" Matthew's voice was filled with unwavering support as he held her close. "Agatha, my love, I understand your fears, but we cannot let doubt consume us. We have come so far, and we will continue to fight for the truth. Together, we are strong." Agatha's tension began to ease as she listened to his comforting words. She realized that she wasn't alone in this journey, that she had a steadfast partner by her side. With renewed strength, she looked up at Matthew and smiled. "Thank you, Matthew. Your love and belief in me give me the courage to face whatever lies ahead." Chapter 5. Hannah's Secrets. Determined to unravel the truth behind her sister's life, Agatha embarked on a relentless quest to investigate Hannah's activities. With each new piece of information, the mysteries surrounding Hannah's research on ancient sculptures grew deeper. Agatha's visit to the Los Angeles Museum proved to be a turning point, uncovering a disturbing reality that sent chills down her spine. As Agatha walked through the halls of the museum, she couldn't shake off the feeling that something was amiss. The artifacts listed in Hannah's thesis were either missing, stolen, or replaced with skillful counterfeits. It was clear that someone had tampered with the exhibits, casting a shadow of doubt over the integrity of the museum's collection. Agatha's inquiries led her to the museum's security office, where she discovered that security officer Daniel and record keeper Stella had been fired due to suspicions surrounding their involvement in the thefts. Agatha's mind raced as she connected the dots. Stella was the new victim of her haunting visions. Fueled by her determination, Agatha knew she had to dig deeper into Hannah's research and uncover the truth. She reached out to William and Evelyn, sharing her findings and suspicions, gathering in Agatha's study for an intense brainstorming session. Evelyn leaned forward, her eyes filled with curiosity. "Agatha, the missing artifacts and the dismissal of Daniel and Stella raise so many questions. Could they be connected? What was Hannah working on that could have led to all this?" Agatha's voice was tinged with concern. Hannah's research focused on ancient sculptures, but it seems there is more to it than meets the eye. The stolen artifacts and the counterfeit replacements indicate a deeper conspiracy at play. William's brows furrowed as he pondered the situation. The involvement of Daniel and Stella is too coincidental to ignore. If they were involved in the thefts, they might hold the key to unraveling this mystery. Agatha nodded, her mind swirling with possibilities. Exactly. We need to gather more evidence before confronting Daniel and Stella. We must be careful not to jump to conclusions, but we can't ignore the connection between Stella and my visions. Evelyn's voice carried a note of caution. "Agatha, we need to approach this with caution. If Daniel and Stella are guilty, they may be dangerous. Let's gather enough proof to expose their actions without putting ourselves at risk." Agatha met Evelyn's gaze, determination flickering in her eyes. "I understand the risks, but we owe it to Hannah to uncover the truth, to bring justice to her memory. We can't let fear hold us back." William placed a reassuring hand on Agatha's shoulder, his voice filled with unwavering support. "Agatha, We stand united, ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead. Together, we are stronger. Chapter 6. A New Twist. Meanwhile, Stella's phone call with Daniel takes a sinister turn as she attempts to blackmail him with a video. Stella, her voice filled with hidden motives, said, "Daniel, I have something that belongs to you. Something that could ruin your life. I suggest you meet me in person, with $100,000 if you ever want to see it again." Daniel, feeling frustrated and cornered, responded, "Stella, what do you want from me? Why are you doing this?" Stella smirked, her tone mocking, as she replied, "Oh, Daniel, it's quite simple. Money and power. I know what you've done, and I have the evidence. Pay up, or I'll make sure your world comes crashing down." Desperation filled Daniel's voice as he pleaded, "You can't do this, Stella. Think about the consequences. We're in this together." Mockingly, Stella retorted, "Together? That's where you're wrong, Daniel. I've always been one step ahead, and I won't let you drag me down with you. Meet me in room number 1505 at the Hotel Holiday Inn, or else I'll expose everything." The call ended abruptly, leaving Daniel shaken and contemplating his next move. He realized that he must eliminate Stella to protect his secrets, as she posed a threat to their partnership. Daniel, driven by his malevolent intentions, entered Stella's room with a cold determination. The air crackled with tension as the two engaged in a fierce struggle for survival. Stella fought valiantly, desperate to protect herself and the damning evidence that could bring Daniel to justice. Amidst the chaos of their confrontation, the pen drive slipped from Stella's coat, tumbling to the floor and rolling beneath the bed. With ruthless determination, Daniel overpowered Stella's valiant efforts and succeeded in taking her life. The room fell silent, save for the haunting echoes of the tragedy that had unfolded. Unbeknownst to Daniel, his desperate act had inadvertently left behind a crucial piece of evidence beneath the bed, the very pen drive that could expose their dark secrets. Chapter 7. A Desperate Chase. As Matthew enjoyed his refreshing shower, he called out to Agatha, his voice echoing through the bathroom. "Agatha, could you please grab a t-shirt for me from the wardrobe? It's in the second drawer," Matthew requested. Agatha, always attentive to Matthew's needs, nodded and quickly moved towards the wardrobe. As she opened the second drawer, her eyes widened with astonishment. The t-shirt she retrieved was the exact one she had envisioned, aligning perfectly with her earlier premonition. "Matthew, you won't believe this!" Agatha exclaimed, her voice filled with excitement and intrigue. "This is the same t-shirt I saw in my vision. It's like a piece of the puzzle coming together." Matthew, intrigued by Agatha's revelation, turned off the shower and wrapped a towel around himself. He approached Agatha, studying the t-shirt in her hands. "Agatha, that's incredible," Matthew exclaimed, his gaze locked onto the t-shirt. "It's as if your visions are leading you directly to this moment. This t-shirt is the latest release, a limited edition, and I actually purchased it from their store just yesterday." Realizing the urgency of the situation, Agatha's thoughts turned to Stella. She knew that time was of the essence, and she had to act quickly to ensure justice for her sister and uncover the truth. Agatha rushed to room 1505 at the Hotel Holiday Inn, her heart pounding in her chest. As she entered the room, a sense of unease washed over her. The sight of Stella's lifeless body lying on the floor sent a chill down her spine. Agatha's eyes quickly scanned the room, searching for the vital clue she had envisioned, the pen drive. She knew that retrieving it would be a crucial step in unmasking the culprits and shedding light on the mysteries that surrounded them. Her gaze fell upon the area below the bed, and there it was, the small, red-colored pen drive she had seen in her vision. Agatha's hands trembled as she picked it up, recognizing its significance. With the pen drive in her possession, Agatha felt a mix of relief and determination. She knew that this evidence held the key to exposing the truth and bringing justice to those involved. Chapter 8. Unveiling the Truth. With a heavy heart, Agatha approached Matthew, the weight of her discoveries weighing heavily on her. She knew that trust and transparency were vital in their relationship, even in the face of unsettling revelations. Taking a deep breath, she opened up to him. "Matthew, I need to talk to you," Agatha began, her voice filled with a mixture of fear and determination. "Something disturbing has happened, and I can no longer keep it to myself." Matthew turned to face Agatha, his eyes reflecting concern and confusion. "What is it, Agatha? You know you can tell me anything." Agatha's hands trembled slightly as she took out the pendrive containing the crucial video evidence. She handed it to Matthew and urged him to watch it together. As the video played, Agatha's heart sank, and her worst fears seemed to materialize before her eyes. The footage revealed her sister Hannah facing Matthew, their expressions fraught with tension. The truth unfolded mercilessly as it became clear that Matthew was the murderer Agatha had been desperately seeking. Tears welled up in Agatha's eyes as the video ended, the room enveloped in a suffocating silence. She looked at Matthew, her voice choked with emotion. How could you, Matthew? How could you take Hannah's life?" Matthew, his face pale and anguish evident in his eyes, struggled to find the right words. "Agatha, I know it looks incriminating, but there's more to the story. Please let me explain." Agatha's heart ached, torn between the love she once had for Matthew and the devastating truth before her. She wiped away a tear, her voice trembling as she spoke. "All right, Matthew. I'll listen, but know that my trust in you has been shattered. Explain yourself." Matthew took a deep breath, his words laced with sorrow. "Agatha, I come from a once affluent family. We had everything, but my father's gambling addiction brought us to ruin. We lost everything, the wealth, the status. I was left abandoned and desperate." Agatha listened intently, her anger mingling with a flicker of empathy. She couldn't deny the pain that resided within Matthew's past. "Desperate for a way out, I crossed paths with Daniel and Stella," Matthew continued. "They offered me a chance to make money through smuggling stolen artifacts. It was a dark path I walked, one I can never excuse. But Hannah had grown suspicious. She started digging, asking questions. She became a threat to our operation." Agatha's eyes widened, her voice filled with a mix of disbelief and anguish. "So you killed her? You took her life to protect your criminal activities?" Matthew's head bowed, a deep sense of shame weighing heavily upon him. "No, Agatha, it wasn't me. It was Daniel. He was the one who murdered Hannah. But I couldn't save her. I was trapped, involved in something I couldn't escape. Please believe me." He continued. "That night, I went to talk to Hannah, but Daniel, who was also there, lost his temper and shot her dead. Stella was secretly taping the incident, but due to her camera's angle, it looked as if I was the killer." Agatha's mind reeled with conflicting emotions. Her heart still held a flicker of love for the man before her, but the pain of her sister's loss loomed large. "Matthew, I don't know what to say. This is all so overwhelming." Guilt etched Matthew's features as he reached out to grasp Agatha's hand. "I understand if you can't forgive me, Agatha. I don't deserve it. But please, let me make amends. Let me surrender to the police. Let them bring justice for Hannah." Agatha pulled her hand away, a mix of sadness and resolve in her eyes. "You're right, Matthew. Justice must be served. We'll go to the police together and you'll confess to your crimes, but don't expect my forgiveness so easily." Chapter 9. The Final Call. As Matthew reached for his phone to dial emergency services, a sudden jolt of pain surged through his body. Daniel, his face twisted with malice, had plunged a knife into Matthew's back, leaving him injured and unconscious on the floor. Agatha, her eyes wide with terror, rushed forward, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and fury. "No! Stop, you monster!" she cried, her words echoing through the room. Agatha attacked at Daniel, her every instinct screaming for justice. Her hands clawed at him, her desperation fueling her strength. But Daniel, fueled by his own darkness, proved to be a tough opponent. Their struggle was fierce and intense, each moment etched with a desperate fight for survival. Agatha fought with every ounce of determination, her mind filled with memories of her beloved sister and the injustice that had befallen her. However, despite her valiant efforts, Agatha's strength faded. The weight of her grief and the overwhelming force of Daniel's brutality overpowered her. Weakened and injured, Agatha fell to the ground, her consciousness slipping away. Daniel, triumphant in his cruel victory, turned his attention back to Matthew, ready to deliver a final blow. But fate had a different plan. Just as Daniel prepared to end Matthew's life, a familiar voice echoed through the room. William, Agatha's loyal and steadfast friend, burst into the scene, his eyes wide with shock and disbelief. In a rush rage, he launched himself at Daniel, catching him off guard. Blow after blow was exchanged, each strike fueled by a fierce desire to bring an end to the violence and reclaim the justice that had been stolen. Finally, with a final burst of strength, William managed to overpower Daniel, his fists raining down upon him until Daniel lay defeated on the ground. Gasping for breath, William staggered toward Agatha, his voice filled with desperation. "Agatha, please wake up. We need you. Don't leave us now. We're going to get you out of here." As the sound of approaching sirens grew louder, William's heart raced with both relief and apprehension. He knew that their ordeal was far from over, but the arrival of the police was a glimmer of hope in the darkness. With the arrival of the police, the room filled with a renewed sense of purpose. Officers swarmed the scene, apprehending Daniel and securing the area. Through weary eyes, Agatha watched as Daniel was led away in handcuffs. Her voice was faint but resolute as she whispered, "Justice has been served." William, his breath still heavy, turned to Matthew, who was now regaining consciousness. "Matthew, it's not over yet. We have to face the consequences of our actions and make things right." Matthew nodded, his voice filled with remorse. "You're right, William. I never wanted any of this to happen. I'll take responsibility for what I've done." As the police van departed, carrying Daniel and Matthew away in custody, Agatha's weary gaze followed them. She knew that their journey was far from over, but a glimmer of hope flickered within her.